I'm Amanda with Galaxy Home Recreation. Today I want to talk to you about our SunSalt system. This is a salt system that you can add to any pool. So the salt system comes with a salt cell and then also a control box, as you can see here. And this is where you'll be able to turn it off and on and control your levels. So the way a salt cell works is that this cell will take the salt that you add to your pool, it'll turn it into chlorine, and then it'll turn it back into salt. It'll be a continuous cycle going through here so that you can maintain a constant level of chlorine in your pool. It's important to balance your pool and to do a few more steps in order to ensure that your salt cell will be working properly. We have a handout that's available in our pool guide as well as on our website under resources. This goes over each step of how to get your pool ready for using this SunSalt system. The first thing you're going to do is to balance your water. So what you can do is use a test strip like this. You can just dip it in the water, or you can also bring your water in for a free water sample test that we have at our stores. What you want to do is make sure that your pH is between 7.2 to 7.6, alkalinity between 80 to 120, and calcium hardness between 100 to 300 parts per million. When you test your water, if you see that you're outside of one of those ranges, you're going to use a product like pH increaser or decreaser or alkalinity increaser in order to make those adjustments. If you need help with that, feel free to come into our store or call one of our chemical specialists. They can help you figure out exactly how much to add. After you've balanced your water, you're also going to want to add stabilizer. So this is a stabilizer. You want to have a level of 50 to 80 parts per million. 60 is really ideal. And there's a handy guide on the back that tells you exactly how much to add for however many gallons that you have in your pool. When you put this in your pool, it should stay in there, but if you have a lot of splash out or a lot of rain, it could dilute the stabilizer level. So do keep in mind that you may want to check your stabilizer level once a month just to see where it's at. So once you've balanced your water and you've added your stabilizer, then you're ready to go into the next step. So there's two things you want to make sure that you don't have in your water. That's going to be metals and phosphates. So this is a phosphate remover. There's different types of phosphate removers. Always follow the instructions on the back, but make sure that you do use this. This is a good preventative measure because phosphates can clog up the salt cell and keep it from working to its maximum efficiency. After you follow the instructions for your phosphate remover, you also want to follow it for metal control. It's important to get the metals out of the water so that it doesn't interact with the water chemistry and the salt and cause stains. So this is going to be your last step before adding your salt to your pool. So again, once you have your water balanced, you've added your stabilizer, you've removed all phosphates and metal, then you're going to add the salt in your pool. This salt is what's going to go through the salt cell and create that low level of chlorine. You want to have 3,500 parts per million of salt in your pool. There's a chart right here that goes over exactly how much to add. Most fresh water is going to have 0 parts per million, which is going to be in this first column. So let's say, for instance, you have 12,000 gallons, you'll add 350 pounds of pool salt. Now, if you are testing later on to see how much more salt to add, if you're not at that 3,500 parts per million, you would just go over here to whatever part per million that you have of salt and then follow that down and it'll tell you. The way you can test for your salt level is with salt test strips. We have these available at our stores, and you would just do like a regular test strip, dip it in the water, and then you can compare it to the back and you can see exactly how much salt you have in your pool. So other than getting your water ready, there is some maintenance that is required weekly. You do want to test it for your pH levels. You also want to add your algicide. The salt system doesn't do anything to prevent algae from growing. It just keeps a low level of chlorine all the time. So especially in hot months, you may end up with an algae growth. If you start using algicide preventatively, weekly or monthly, depending on the instructions on the back, you're going to have clear water for the whole season. You also want to put in some shock, especially after heavy rains. The salt cell does have a boost option. However, that's going to make the salt cell not last as long. So it's real easy just to throw in a bag of shock anytime you have a heavy rain. Or if you want to be even more proactive, you could just do it weekly. And this is just a regular Cal Hypo shock. Other than that, monthly, you do want to test for your salt level. You also want to test for the alkalinity, the stabilizer, and the calcium. And you can do that with a regular test strip. At the end of your first season and at the beginning of each season, you want to check your salt cell to see if it needs to be cleaned. If it does need to be cleaned, you can do that easily with diluted vinegar. There's actually a cap that you can put on here with the diluted vinegar, let it sit, and it will clean your cell for you. You want to keep an eye on the levels. Like I said, make sure that your 3,500 part per million salt level is maintained, the pH at 7.2 to 7.6, alkalinity at 80 to 120, and calcium hardness 100 to 300. We do have, like I said, resources on our website and chemical specialists at all of our stores 7 days a week. So feel free to reach out to us if you have any other questions. Thank you.